Hello and welcome to this live chat session. Thank you for joining, viewers. Koforak 1 is the first person to comment. Vinta Kiros, one of my regular viewers. Thank you for joining, Vinta. Mike Laurie, and other regular viewer. Second, he says, hello Sajid, someone says, and the name is not in English. I cannot read the name. Manelik D, salam, salam, my Himalayan friend. Beautiful mountains of Tigray, salam, salam, says Ming Chen, says Pakistan, Zindabad. Thomas Malice says hi. AG123 says hello. Chapier Liner says hi. Hi, Chapier Liner. Thank you for joining, viewers. Timolex Tube has also joined. Timolex Tube. Difficult names sometimes to understand, pronounce. Try my best. Viewers, in this live chat session, we'll try to analyze Matthew was Baisa. I think he is from Oromia. Matthew Sagos. What do you mean by the political leaders freed have been pardoned? Yes, important question. Pardoned or declared innocence? Important question. Koforak says Abiy has lost the support of Oromo people, majority of the population. Okay, I'll speak on that. I don't agree that he has lost the support of Oromo majority. Dato Sapora is commenting something, I think, hateful. That is why it has been deleted. Auto deleted. Is peace really a possibility, or just going to just we have hopes and nothing? Manelik is asking. Let me just respond to first question. Was it a release, or the released persons have been declared innocent? They have not been declared innocent. It was pardon. It was amnesty granted by Ethiopian government. So it's not that the released leaders have been declared clear of all charges. They have not been declared innocent. I think for this to happen, entire legal proceeding will have to be completed to drop the charges. Maybe that is why the short way has been adopted to pardon them. But they can say that charges still stand and they were innocent. And they are saying that. We have heard from some of the supporters that that these leaders do not want pardon. They want to be declared innocent. So that this issue could rise in coming days. Someone is saying Jawar is the next Prime Minister of Ethiopia. Well, Abiy is here for this term, for the next 5 years. What remains to be seen is, will these Oromo leaders acknowledge PM Abiy as the legitimate Prime Minister of Ethiopia? Will they acknowledge the election which was held on the 21st of June this year? That will determine the direction of politics in coming days, I think. Dato Spora says, what about 100,000 innocents still in jail? Yes, you're right. They should be released as well. But at least something is starting. Let things start. Release of Jawar was a big problem. Release of Sabbat Naga was a big issue. If these big names can be released, then others will also be released. So let things start. I think I personally think that we should support this move of PM Abiy. whether he is sincere or not. We should support him. We should make him do more because he is under pressure too. There are so many players in this war, viewers. Ethiopian PM Abiy cannot make everyone happy. He cannot take decisions unilaterally as well. So it's difficult for him to decisions on his own. So we should back what he is doing and we should try to say that he should do more. We should not say that he is altogether insincere, he is a liar. Someone is saying they are retired members. Yes, they are. We know that Sabbath Naga, though he is one of the founding members of TPLF, but he is not member of Tigray Central Command. But he is the most respected TPLF leader in Ethiopia. So his release is a big message. It could be a symbolic message, but despite the fact that he is not a functional official, his release is a big step. You are seeing the response that some sections in Amhara region are opposing his release. Why? He is a big name, no doubt about that. What's your thought about US policy next if you think Feltman involved this decision? I don't personally think that Feltman had any major role in this decision. Feltman had no role. He was just invited while he was leaving and he met with PM Abiy as well. But this decision has not been taken due to US pressure. If you remember, the 22nd of December, I did a video. I told you about that Jawar and Bekele Garba could be released. So things were happening within the past few weeks. It's not something new. Release of TPLF leaders is a bit surprising because there could be reaction against this decision in Amhara region. That is what we are seeing on some small scale. If something is being done by Ethiopian government, it should be backed, I think. Maybe things could move towards a peaceful solution. Ming Chan is commenting about Ethiopian economy. Yes, in dire straits. Someone is B88 Tube is talking about airstrikes. Yes, you're right that after this announcement of the release of prisoners, airstrikes were conducted on a refugee camp in northwest Tigray. Dadebert is the name of the place, I think. And dozens of innocent civilians have been killed. Yes. It happened right after the announcement of the release of TPLF leaders. It happened. That is why perhaps Tigray has not welcomed this gesture so far. And so far, TPLF leaders have not been released too. What I am saying is that no one is saying that airstrikes should happen. Airstrikes should not happen. They should be condemned. But PM Abiy is in a difficult position. His allies all are not on the same page when it comes to engagement with TPLF. If Tigray supporters keep on attacking him as well, if they keep on rejecting his moves and decisions, he'll be further under pressure. If he is taking a step, whether sincerely or not, he should be backed, I personally think. Let's see what he is up to. Let's see what he is up to. Make him do things. Make him do things. And that is how he can be forced to do, I think, or convinced to do things. If you keep on rejecting each and every decision he is making, then he'll be under pressure on both sides, on in his support base as well, and he'll be under fire from Tigray as well. Things are starting to happen. No one could have thought 2 months ago that Jawar, Bekle, Gerba could be out of prison. They are out of prison. Then no one could have thought that we would be talking about the release of Sabbath Naga. We are now discussing that. So that is why things could move towards solution. It could happen. Someone is saying TDF controlled Vaja. I think days ago in the video of battlefield updates, I told you about that. In fact, TDF was moving from Vaja in two directions, to the east and west of Kobo. They had taken some places to the west of Kobo. So Vaja has been under TDF for several days. What about the drone attacks? Yes, no one is going to say that drone attacks should happen. Next thing which people should do is that they should demand from Ethiopian government that while you are releasing TPLF leaders, you should stop drone strikes. You should stop airstrikes. This demand should be made. That you cannot release TPLF leaders and then carry out drone strikes. You'll have to stop drone strikes. Once drone strikes stop, and there is some sort of engagement between TPLF leaders and Ethiopian government leaders, we could see some sort of start of talks. What about releasing OLF leaders? OLF is the giant in Oromia. Dawood Ibsa is not in prison, I think. He is under house arrest. It's not that he is being prosecuted. I don't think he's being prosecuted. Other OLF members might be in prison, but Dawood Ibsa is not in prison, I think. Sam says, Sajid, do you think that every region should have the same amount of weapons as Tigray had? That is what your national dialogue is about. That is why I say Ethiopia needs a new start. Because there are no set rules how to balance the powers of regions and governments. Federal government has an army, ENDF. Now regions are raising armies too. These regions have all types of weapons too. Tigray has now made a Tigray Defense Force. We could see the same type of force in Amhara, in Oromia. That would lead to disintegration of Ethiopia. That is what is needed, that you should discuss these things at the table. That is why people have been calling for national dialogue. And if all stakeholders sit at the table, they should talk about these issues. What is going to be the red line between Ethiopian federal government and regions? Who will raise the army? Will there be secession? Will regions be allowed to secede? Several questions which regions and federal government should decide by sitting at the table. Sajid, could Tigray become the next Gaza or Taiwan? Tigray is already Gaza. Gaza has a coastline, I think. So Gaza has a coastline different from Tigray. Tigray is under complete siege. Nothing can enter Tigray. That is why people are dying, because aid is not entering Tigray. On all sides, Tigray is encircled. And that is why I said that Tigray as an independent country now is not viable. Tigray cannot announce independence now because it's encircled on all sides by those regions and countries which are hostile towards Tigray. And Tigray does not have a coastline. So, how will it survive as a country? People said, Sajid, you are discouraging the calls, the voices for independence by making such conclusion. My conclusion was based upon the reality on the ground. Tigray cannot be viable now as a state. It needs some sort of corridor with Sudan. After that, they might think about independence. Allowing access to aid is more noble than releasing unlawfully detained prisoners. Yes, there should be relaxation when it comes to provision of aid to Tigray, no doubt about that. Someone says, how will justice be served if we keep on releasing criminals? Well, if you keep on holding them in prisons, then you'll keep on fighting. You'll have to make a new start. Reconciliation will have to start one day. One day, Ethiopia will have to do it. Beatles is asking about drone strikes on Eritrean refugees. Yes, very disturbing, extremely sad that refugee camp has been targeted in drone strikes. That just shows viewers that Ethiopian drones they are proving to be largely off target within the past 1 month, I think. After TDF's withdrawal from Amhara Afar regions, we have seen several attacks on civilians, and I personally think some of them were they actually missed targets. I personally think so. I wouldn't be surprised if I come to know that TB2s are not in operation now, because flights from the UAE and Turkey have stopped. But flights from Iran to Ethiopia have been seen within the past few days. So Iranian Muhajir 6 might be in operation. That is why we are seeing that civilians are being killed, and Ethiopian government does not care to issue a statement. When you are hitting a target, why don't you tell the people who was the target? A military target, a building, who was on the ground which drones hit? Ethiopian government never issues a statement. That's very alarming. Music says, Sajid, 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 what's going on, brother? Be Informed wants me to talk more about humanitarian aid question. My position has been clear from day one that you cannot stop delivery of aid to Tigray. Whether this aid reaches Tigray fighters or not, you cannot stop that. It does not happen in any war theater that you stop aid deliveries to the people who are not combatants. You can you can take some assurances from aid agencies that they'll deliver this aid to the people in need, but you cannot stop it. But Ethiopian government has been stopping aid delivery to Tigray. Asaya Sehverki is going to be interviewed today. We'll update you after a few hours. He does not appear on TV a lot. Today he is going to appear on TV. So we'll update you about this interview. Beatles, yes. After a few hours, we'll talk about that. Where do Amhara activists disappear on social media today? confused. They are definitely confused, and some of them have raised questions about the announcement of the release of TPLF leaders. Then two diaspora members, Tamane Bijine and Andargachu Sage, they have issued some very strong statements. They are openly against the release of Sabbath Naga and the TPLF leaders. And their activists, they are also not backing this decision. That is why today PM Abiy issued a new statement. And in that statement, he used some strong words against TPLF. And that is why tomorrow's no more rally in Addis Ababa has been cancelled. And some Amhara social activists, no, not social media activists, they are calling for protests tomorrow in Addis Ababa. We'll see what happens tomorrow in Addis Ababa in the parts in Amhara region. But they're calling for protests against Ethiopian government's decision to release TPLF. Yes, Koforak is saying that release unlawfully detained journalists. Yes, Maiza, Jasper then Tamat Nagra. All these journalists must be released. If you can release Jawar after accusing him of terrorism, if you can release Sabbath Naga after accusing him of treason, so why can't you release Jasper Tesfaye, Tamrat Nagra, or Miaza Muhammad? These journalists must be released. I agree with you. Field Marshal rank. We'll talk about that in the next video. What is international community's response to this release? Yes, all have welcomed. The UN has welcomed. All of them have welcomed, but they are saying that this step must be followed by other CBMs, confidence building measures. This step alone won't make any change. Ethiopian government, Tigray government, they'll have to take more such decisions. This step alone cannot bring about any change on the ground. But Tigray will have to do something, Ethiopian government, if it comes out of the pressure, which it is under now from some sections of diaspora and some social media activists. If they come out of this pressure, then they must announce some more measures like stopping of drone strikes, air strikes, delivery of aid to Tigray. Several things can be announced. Sajid, who told you Sabbath Naga is popular and liked by Ethiopians? I never said that. I said he's liked in his support base. I am not talking about entire Ethiopia. Do you think this war will end unless Tigray siege is lifted? Yeah, things can happen. Let's hope for the best. We have seen one small window of opportunity. Some leaders have been released, people will be released as well. Things could move towards improvement. Let's hope. Though it's difficult, chances are very slim. Chances are very slim, but we should hope and back this small window of opportunity available. Feltman stripped to Ethiopia. Next person taking the role. Next person is former US ambassador to Turkey, David Satterfield. He is going to assume the charge in coming days, and he can prove effective if US wants to stop the purchase of drones by Ethiopian government. Ethiopia has purchased drones from Turkey. So now David Satterfield can play a role in stopping drone deliveries from Turkey to Ethiopia. Eritreans are reportedly leaving northern part of western Tigray. I don't have any information about that. They will never leave Badme. What do you mean by northern parts? What is meant by northern parts? They are in western Tigray. They're still there. They have deployments along Umme Hajar Shiraro border areas. They will never withdraw from Badme. So which northern areas are they retreating from? Someone is saying Eritreans leaving western Tigray, Birhan Kasate says. Let me work on that. Let me work, then I'll be able to say for sure what's happening there. Are we starting to see divide between Amhara government and It's 28 minutes past. Let's end this live chat session. We'll have to monitor political developments if we're monitoring this war now, because military developments and political developments, they are linked now. Things that are happening in Addis Ababa today, they're happening in Addis Ababa, which could have a bearing on the battlefield. Let's hope, let's pray. There is small window of opportunity available, and we could see some breakthrough. This release of Sabbat Naga, Jawar Muhammad, Bekle Garba, of course, there has been much work done on this release. It should be backed. Whether you are Tigrayan, Amhara, Oromo, wherever you are from, you should back this release and should demand more such measures. You should demand more measures like stopping of drone strikes, air strikes, like delivery of aid to Tigray, like release of prisoners by Tigray too. Things can happen, viewers. Let's hope for the best. Let's pray for the best. See you in the next live chat session. Thank you for joining. Bye bye.